It was the spring of 1944 at the Luftwaffe's top-secret testing facility in Rechlin, northern Germany, when something unprecedented happened. Under a veil of secrecy, two German test pilots, Hans-Werner Lerche and Karl Baur, both veterans of countless experimental flights, climbed into the cockpit of an American-built, North American P-51B Mustang. The aircraft, captured in nearly intact condition after a forced landing in France, represented the cutting edge of Allied air power. For the men who had flown everything from Bf-109s to Me-262 jets, it was supposed to be just another enemy plane to analyze. What they did not expect was to encounter flight handling so refined, so balanced, that even hardened Luftwaffe engineers fell into stunned silence. The captured Mustang had been ferried by rail under tight guard from occupied France to Rechlin, still bearing faint traces of U.S. Army Air Force's insignia beneath hastily applied German crosses. It was designated 2A4, part of the Luftwaffe's Beuteflugzeug, captured aircraft program, which tested Allied planes to uncover performance secrets and tactical weaknesses. Germany had already examined a variety of Allied fighters, the rugged P-40, the fast Spitfire Mk9, the agile Yak-9, but the P-51 was something else entirely. It was the embodiment of the late-war industrial genius of the United States, lightweight, aerodynamic, and powered by the legendary Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, built under license by Packard. When Lerche advanced the throttle for takeoff that morning, he immediately felt what American pilots had been boasting about for months: effortless acceleration and minimal torque. As the plane lifted off the Rechlin runway, it climbed with smooth, unwavering stability. Within minutes, Lerche radioed the tower, saying, "Sie haben keine Ahnung, was die Amerikaner da gebaut haben. You have no idea what the Americans have built here." He pushed it into a steep climb, banked sharply, and noted the almost uncanny harmony between control surfaces. In his test report, he would later write, "Unlike most high-performance fighters, the Mustang does not punish the pilot for his errors. It forgives them." The Luftwaffe had long prided itself on producing aircraft that rewarded skill and punished mediocrity. Machines like the Bf-109 and FW-190 that demanded mastery. But the Mustang was different. It allowed even an average pilot to achieve remarkable performance. Its unrangement stunned the Germans most, over 1,600 kilometers on internal fuel alone, more than double that of the FW-190. This meant American escorts could now accompany bombers all the way from England to Berlin and back, something Göring had previously declared impossible. When he was informed of the test results, the Reichsmarschall reportedly muttered, "If the Americans have this in large numbers, then we've lost the war." Baur and Lerche's test flights extended over several weeks, with extensive comparative analysis against the Messerschmitt Bf-109G6 and a Focke-Wulf FW-190A 8-2. In nearly every category except rate of roll, the Mustang outperformed them. Its laminar flow wing, an innovation few German engineers fully understood, gave it remarkable fuel efficiency and high-speed stability. German test engineers dissected its design, trying to understand why such an apparently simple airframe could deliver so much. They discovered that its aerodynamic cleanliness, combined with the Merlin's two-stage supercharger, created optimal power at high altitude, precisely where German interceptors struggled. The captured Mustang's cockpit impressed pilots even further. Every control, gauge, and switch was logically placed and easy to read. German pilots, accustomed to cluttered panels filled with metric instruments, noted the Mustang's ergonomic perfection. "Everything is where you expect it to be," wrote one. "It feels designed by a pilot, not a bureaucrat." The visibility from the bubble canopy, still a novelty for German fighters at that point, gave an unmatched field of view in combat. Baur later remarked that such visibility would have saved many of our men if we had it 2 years earlier. As they continued to test, it became clear that the Mustang wasn't just a fast plane, it was an intelligent design philosophy. While Germany poured resources into exotic machines like the Me-262 jet and rocket-powered Me-163, America focused on practical engineering that could be mass-produced and easily maintained. The Mustang embodied this industrial balance, elegant, deadly, and simple to repair in the field. Every rivet told a story of a nation that built weapons for endurance, not desperation. By June 1944, as the Allies prepared for D-Day, the Luftwaffe's Rechlin engineers quietly admitted in their classified reports that the P-51 Mustang represented the ideal fighter concept. It could fight high, fast, and far. For Germany, which had once dominated the skies, that realization was devastating. They could still outfly the Allies in certain tactical situations, but strategically, they had lost the air war. The Mustang proved that the Allies had achieved what the Luftwaffe could not: a perfect balance of technology, production, and human usability, and yet, even in defeat, many German pilots felt a strange admiration for the Mustang. They were engineers and airmen first, and they recognized brilliance when they saw it. Lerche's final report contained an understated but historic line: "If we had built this plane first, we would be flying over New York today." By the time the Mustang's flight data from Rechlin reached Berlin's Air Ministry, the air war had already turned against Germany. The Luftwaffe was bleeding dry, losing 25 to 30% of its fighter strength each month. Meanwhile, thousands of Mustangs roamed the skies from the 8th and 9th Air Forces, their long-range escort missions ensuring that American bombers reached their targets deep inside the Reich. What the Rechlin tests confirmed, and what frontline pilots were already experiencing, was that Germany could no longer compete with the Allies' technological-industrial symbiosis in the skies. Over in Berlin, Dresden, and Leipzig, Luftwaffe pilots were being shot down by Mustangs before they even saw them. Many recalled the P-51's distinctive silhouette, long nose, silver sheen, and whistling engine as a harbinger of doom. Even experienced aces like Adolf Galland and Günther Roll admitted that the Mustang's endurance allowed it to dictate every engagement. It could climb away, dive, or pursue at will. Galland would later say, "It was a fighter pilot's airplane, pure and simple. It could do everything well." The captured tests had also revealed something the Germans could not easily replicate: the production advantage. Every part of the Mustang was designed for rapid assembly and maintenance. At Inglewood, California, and Dallas, Texas, entire Mustangs rolled off assembly lines every few hours. Germany, bombed relentlessly and starved of aluminum and fuel, could barely keep its dwindling aircraft factories operational. Even the Me-262, technologically superior on paper, was crippled by shortages and sabotage. In contrast, America's industrial heartland operated around the clock. The Mustang became the symbol of that unstoppable momentum. The tactical implications were catastrophic for the Luftwaffe. Before 1944, German fighters could retreat to home airfields after intercepting Allied bombers over France. Now Mustangs followed them back, strafing runways, fuel depots, and parked aircraft. Nowhere was safe. By the time of the Operation Point Blank, the Luftwaffe's last line of defense, its experienced fighter arm, was virtually annihilated. Many of those pilots who had tested the Mustang at Rechlin watched helplessly as their own airfields were destroyed by the very aircraft they had once flown under German markings. After the war, Allied intelligence recovered many of Rechlin's test documents. They were astonished by the professionalism of the German analyses. One British officer noted, "Their admiration for the Mustang is palpable, even through the bureaucratic phrasing." The reports became valuable teaching materials for post-war aeronautical engineering programs. They demonstrated that even in the heart of the enemy's scientific establishment, there was grudging respect for the genius of American design. For the Germans who survived, the Mustang left a mark deeper than any defeat. Hans-Werner Lerche went on to work as a test pilot for post-war European aircraft projects. In his memoirs, he wrote that flying the P-51 was like shaking hands with the future. Karl Baur, captured by American forces, later joined Messerschmitt's peacetime engineering efforts and quietly acknowledged that the Mustang had changed his perception of aircraft design forever. The Mustang's legacy, too, extended beyond the war. It became a global icon, not just of Allied victory, but of aviation's evolution toward speed, stability, and range. Pilots in Korea would still rely on it a decade later. And for historians, the Rechlin episode stands as one of those rare wartime moments where professional respect transcended national enmity. Even in a world consumed by destruction, the sky still united men who understood the art of flight. When the war ended in May 1945, Germany lay in ruins, but in hangars scattered across Europe. A few Mustangs remained, some still bearing faint Balkenkreuzer, silent witnesses to that paradoxical moment when German pilots realized they were flying not just an enemy aircraft, but a glimpse of the inevitable. The tests at Rechlin proved a truth far greater than any technical report could convey, that the future belonged to those who could blend innovation with mass production, precision with accessibility, engineering with empathy for the human pilot. In the end, the Mustang wasn't just an aircraft. It was the embodiment of a philosophy, one that defined the modern era of aviation.